I'm South Shore Press News Director Stefan Mihailu, joined by South Shore Press Sports Director Tom Barton. Tom, how are you?
Don't think you have to ask me that. If you read the article about the plays that I had and the money that I made, I'm doing very well today.
Okay, so Tom is a humble guy, nicest guy in the world, love working with him, but I will throw all humility out the window when it comes to you, because you are legitimately one of the most respected sports bettors in America. And you hit the nail on the head on pretty much everything when it comes to betting the Super Bowl, did you not?
Yeah, it's really funny because I wrote the article and I said, hey, be a party pooper, bet all of the player prop unders, bet them all. If you want to just root against both teams. And I basically bet them all. Outside of Jalen Hurts rushing yards, Jalen Hurts passing, even in a blowout, Jalen Hurts passing yards was under, AJ Brown receiving yards and catches was under, Devontae Smith yards and catches went under. Yeah, Travis Kelsey went under. Saquon Barkley went under. Kareem Hunt went under. Patrick Mahomes. Everybody, except for really Xavier Worthy and Hurts' rushing yards, everybody went under their totals, under, in a game that went over, which is really unique.
But you called it, did you not? You basically said, folks, here's how you should bet. And it actually came to fruition, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, what we have to understand is that most of the public loves to now bet prop plays. It's their favorite thing. Bet on the players. I know them. I know them from fantasy. And people that have never bet are going to throw something on prop plays. So what the casino does is they go, we're going to inflate. Because nobody wants to bet an under. It's boring. I'm the jerk in the room rooting for nothing to happen, right? I mean, I'm that guy. But I'm that guy that's collecting at the window where everybody else is wondering what happened.
But how do you reconcile that though? Because the game was 60 plus points,
Yeah.
but was it more of like the turnovers, the points on turnovers that caught up to that? Like how do you equate that? How do you quantify that?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Patrick Mahomes threw a pick six. That doesn't go on anybody's ledger, right? It's pick six. That's 7 points. He threw another interception inside the 15-yard line, so they didn't have a lot of yards to go, right? So there you go. That's 14 points. There was another turnover in their field of play. And my biggest play that I gave out on my Fox Sports Radio show, I gave to SouthShorePress.com readers. I gave out everywhere, and I told everybody my biggest play was Jake Elliott. Let's not forget, Jake Elliott hit 4 field goals last night. I had over 1.5, 4 field goals. So when the kicker gets involved and the defense gets involved, just the numbers, the prop plays are just not going to be there.
Hey, my kids are in the car right now and I got to get their college fund going. So maybe I should listen to you more often when it comes to betting these Super Bowls. And then what about
How about my fun Super Bowl prop that I talked about? Over 2 people to attempt a pass. At the end of the game, Kenny Pickett comes in, throws the worst pass maybe in Super Bowl history. I don't care if it connects or not. And I got that. I did not expect. I thought maybe a kicker, a punter, maybe Worthy or Kelsey throws one. No, at the end of the game in a blowout, which nobody saw coming. Thank you, Kenny Pickett, for throwing a terrible pass.
what advice would you give though to folks who bet on big games like that? Because it seems as though professionals for the most part don't. So everybody tries to make a buck on the Super Bowl or big games, World Series, whatever it is. So as a betting expert, then, what advice would you give to people if they're going to bet, let's say, the World Series or the Super Bowl?
Go into it with having fun mentality. You don't have to be like me. I go into it as a business. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to feed my family. It's what I'm trying to do. Go into it with a fun mentality. If you're going to go out there and you're going to take a shot at things, throw a couple of bucks on a fun, something like I did, where over 2 guys, attempt to pass. You have all game for it. But if you really do want to make money in this, you have to believe that Vegas knows what they're doing. The lines makers, odds makers know what they're doing. So they're not going to give away free money. If you're looking at the numbers, think about what the public's betting. Travis Kelsey over, Patrick Mahomes over, Jalen Hurts over, AJ Brown over, and go under, right? You play unders. The public loves favorites and the public loves overs. So generally speaking, go under and underdogs.
Because clearly, obviously, the Chiefs were the favorite. So whoever bet, the Eagles won big money. Obviously, the Eagles won big. They covered the spread, so to speak, because they won the football game. The Chiefs were the favorites. So at the end of the day, Tom, does Vegas make money no matter what, regardless of who wins the game?
Yeah, absolutely. More people were betting on the Eagles than anybody else, right? That they really shifted the line. The line came down from 1.5 down to one. The Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City hate really drove the money. But I spoke to a sportsbook director, and he told me we want the Eagles to win because so many people bet the Chiefs before the season on futures plays that it wound up evening itself out. As a matter of fact, you know where you're going to laugh, but this is the truth. This is actually documented. Do you know where the sports books got most hurt yesterday? The coin toss. Everybody was on tails, and more people bet the coin toss than any other prop bet on the board. And they hit tails. They actually got hurt before the game began.
That's crazy. I mean, look, I'm one of those guys. I just happened to be in Vegas over the summer, and I think I put like $20 down on the Buffalo Bills winning the Super Bowl. And guys like me, I bet with my heart. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. So, at this same respect, everybody probably did that for the Chiefs at the beginning of the season. And lo and behold, they lost their money, just like
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those long bets that the casinos are concerned about. Uh-oh, we're going to get crushed on the futures plays. So even though $1 million bets were coming in on the Eagles, there was so much more money laying out there for futures plays.
Let's talk the game now. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles just steamrolled the Chiefs. And as a diehard Buffalo Bills fan, I kept thinking, all right, if the Bills beat the Chiefs, of course I play that in my head. If it were the Bills, how would they have done? The Bills defense is horrible. And I mean horrible. So that would have been just a 60-50 gunslinging shootout. But weren't the Chiefs exposed for not being as the hype put them out to be?
Look, they were exposed all year. If you paid attention, and I did talk about this leading into the game, it's not hindsight is 2020. They had set the record for 17 straight games, winning one possession games. Look, you could say that that's fortitude and good coaching and everything. Look, a lot of that's luck, right? I mean, a lot of that is luck. We watched this year a 2-point win against the Raiders where there's a weird call, refs, a guy fumbles the ball, the snap, all kinds of weird things were happening. They were, I will say this with 100% certainty. They were an 11-6 team that wound up just losing just one game. And I think they were exposed. And the other thing, this is the hard truth, Stefan, that a lot of people need to kind of accept. Patrick Mahomes has been exposed, not just this year, for the last 2 years. He's no longer the 50 touchdown, 5,000 yard guy. The last 2 years, 26, 27 touchdowns, right about 4,000 yards. Look, a good quarterback. He's now had 3 bad Super Bowls, looked bad against Tampa, didn't look good against the Eagles last time, didn't look good last night. Despite the numbers, he looked atrocious last night. And when you look at Patrick Mahomes, you go, we have to start evaluating what he is, not what we thought he might be. Patrick Mahomes' numbers this year, the regular season, were almost identical to Aaron Rodgers. That is reality. But again, we want to blame everything else. Let's start looking at Patrick Mahomes and say, maybe they figured something out with Mahomes because the Eagles certainly look like they have, not just this time, but the last time they played them in the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, as a Bills fan, I just think, okay, Chiefs are past their prime. If the Bills shore up on defense, they'll be the team in the AFC that's going to play whoever comes out of the NFC, whether it's the Eagles again or anything like that else. So, Tom, from a betting perspective, did the betting start the Monday after the Super Bowl of saying who's going to win the Super Bowl next year already?
I made a bet last night. I have a tradition. I have a tradition. I always take a long shot futures play. Not 1,000-1. I take a futures play where I think something can happen good. 2 years ago I took when they weren't sure if Lamar Jackson was going to come back from Baltimore. Oh, man, I got 25-1 odds. By the time he signed, they were down to 12-1 odds. So I try to find something that I can have good odds on. But the sports books agree with you. The Chiefs and Philly are 6-1, and then I've never seen this jumbled up. Chiefs and Philly are 6-1. The Lions, the Bills, and the Ravens are all 7-1. I mean, they're right there. So everybody's jumbled up. You don't want to take a futures play now on one of those because what can possibly happen? There could be an injury and they could fall off. But what good? They're going to go from 7-1 to like 5-1. You don't lose that much value. What you want to do if you take an early play before the draft, before free agency, is you want to take a 20-1 or more, and you hope that you're going to get value. You're hoping that the team that you take makes a big move, and now they're 10-1 as opposed to your 25-1.
But at the end of the day, and we'll close by this point, lose, whether it's sports betting, a casino, a stock market pick. You don't want to bet basically what you can't afford to lose, correct?
No, 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 no. People ask me all the time, why aren't you sitting in $1 million mansion? And I said, well, because for me, it's not gambling for fun. Like I said, this is a source of income. You have to be very, very strategic in it. The best sports bettors in the world are hitting 55%. They are grinding out a living. It's the ups and downs, the swings. You cannot allow this to get away from you. Money management is just as important, or I would even argue more important than actually winning and losing. You can win 9 games in a row, but on that 10th game, if you take all of your winnings and you put it on it, you could walk around and say, hey, I'm 9-1. Yeah, but you have $0 in your account, right? So you got to be very, very careful. Have fun with it. Don't get into this as a professional unless you want to devote 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, which is exactly what I do.
There you go. And you're with the South Shore Press. We're glad to have you, Tom. As always, it's really good to see you, buddy. And we'll talk fantasy baseball next week. Next week.
Can't wait for that.
one. I don't know anything about it, so you're going to be the one yapping most of the time.
Not a problem. I have the gift of gab.